Welcome, friends. I'm Black Flag Civilian, and you do not want to lug that 15-pound rifle 15 miles. I'm here to tell you about one of my favorite guns. I call it a Civil Defense SPR. This rifle, which I assembled from parts, is my take on a KE Arms Civil Defense rifle, but modified to extend the range and improve the accuracy of the platform. I wanted to build a rifle that balances weight, accuracy, and affordability, all for under $1,000. So where did this idea come from, and what does this concept have to offer? The long and short of it is this. In a world of bloated, heavy AR-15s with accessories stacked on top of accessories, you simply cannot beat the comfort and ease of use that comes from a simple, lightweight, light recoiling carbine. You can put this sort of rifle in the hands of almost any person in the world, small-framed, elderly, disabled, it doesn't matter, and have them shooting proficiently within the hour. That's a powerful concept. It puts a lot of power in the hands of working-class people. The KE Arms What Would Stoner Do rifle takes lightweight to the extreme with a carbon fiber handguard and other modern upgrades. But at nearly $2,000, it's out of reach for most working-class shooters. And that's where the Civil Defense rifle comes in. The Civil Defense rifle from KE Arms follows the same design concept, but swaps the carbon fiber handguard with a lightweight aluminum one. It uses cheaper mil-spec components throughout the gun, and this cuts the cost of the rifle in half. Still a significant investment at around $900, but far more accessible to working-class people who are serious about defense and preparedness. Now for the downside, the barrel choice. Every version comes with a Faxon pencil weight barrel. These aren't bad barrels, they're actually great for what they are, but being so light, they heat up and they lose accuracy fast. A 2 MOA cold barrel can become a 4 MOA hot barrel after shooting just a magazine or two. That's a big trade-off for weight savings. Now, this is a problem for me, because I'm a long-range guy at heart. I spend a lot of time shooting 400+ yards in the woods where I do most of my hiking and LARPing. So one day I thought, gee, it sure would be nice to have a civil defense rifle that can handle long strings of fire and make accurate hits out to 600 yards or more. I wonder what that might look like. I listed out everything great about the Civil Defense rifle and everything great about the SPR concept. Next, I started thinking about how to blend these two philosophies. I assembled a parts list that took both approaches into account, and that leads us here to this rifle. Let's head inside and take a closer look. So here we have the qualities I want from the Civil Defense rifle, and here we have the qualities I want from the SPR concept. In my mind, in order to be successful, this build must meet all attributes listed here while staying below 10 pounds and below $1,000 for the base rifle. The stuff on the left is going to relate more to the actual rifle parts, and the stuff on the right is going to relate more to optics choice, accessories, ammo selection, the rifle system, if you will. Since this is a budget build, I have to prioritize spending money on the parts that matter most, and since my main goal is improving accuracy, the parts that matter most are the barrel and the trigger. I went with an 18-inch Criterion Core barrel. This medium profile 223 Wild barrel has most of its mass close to the receiver, and then it narrows significantly approaching the muzzle device. The result is a highly accurate barrel that can handle moderate strings of fire without losing too much accuracy. And since most of the barrel mass is close to your body, the balance is fantastic, and this 18-inch barrel feels much lighter than it actually is. In the grand scheme of things, this is a relatively lightweight barrel for an SPR, but it's significantly heavier than the Faxon pencil barrel found in the standard Civil Defense rifle, so I think it's a Goldilocks fit for this build. As for the trigger, I went with the LaRue MBT-2S trigger. It's a 2-stage, 4.5-pound trigger with a short take-up, crisp break, and short reset. LaRue makes a curved and a flat option, and both are excellent, but I like the flat version for longer range work. I honestly don't know how they make money on these things, because they are so ridiculously good for such a low price. I don't see any reason to buy a $250 Geisley trigger when LaRue sells these at less than half the price. With the heart of the accuracy dialed in, let's move on to the foundation of the rifle, starting with the lower receiver. The foundation of this rifle is the KP15 polymer lower from KE Arms. Like the Faxon barrels, these lowers are used on every What Would Stoner Do rifle and Civil Defense rifle. They are lightweight, inexpensive, and work every bit as well as traditional aluminum AR-15 lowers. Better in some ways. Like that massive mag well, you can basically toss a magazine in there from across the room. One notable aspect to this lower is that it removes most of the modularity from the platform. This could be good or bad depending on your preferences. It's one piece, so you get a fixed length stock and a fixed grip angle. This is a bit of a mixed bag for me personally. The 13-inch length of pull is perfect, but I prefer a pistol grip with a more vertical grip angle. For this build, it's a small compromise for the weight and the cost savings, which are key to the Civil Defense SPR concept. As for the rest of the lower, you're just looking at a standard carbine buffer and spring and affordable mil-spec parts, nothing unique there. Moving on to the upper receiver, I chose a KE Arms slick side upper and lightweight aluminum handguard. The truth is, as long as they're in spec, those parts won't affect accuracy all that much. The forward assist delete is the only standout feature since it cuts weight just a touch, and since they're all from the same company, these parts satisfy my mild brand OCD. We already discussed the barrel, so the next most important thing is the bolt carrier group. I went with the Brownell's nitride bolt carrier group because I never heard about one of them failing prematurely, and they were on sale at the time. I think the gas block and rifle length gas tube are from Aero, but just about any manufacturer will do. I opted for an A2 birdcage on the muzzle because I don't see any reason to spend more money on something else unless you plan to suppress the gun. And I like Radian Raptor charging handles and happen to have one in my parts bin, so that's what you see here. But keeping with the budget approach we've been talking about so far, I'd recommend a mil-spec just to keep costs down. Because I can't bring myself to use the term force multiplier, we're talking accessories, and the most important accessory on any rifle is going to be your optic. Your optic will determine how you use your rifle more than any other aspect of your build. And for this build, we have to meet the criteria for an SPR optic, which means a 2 to 12-ish scope, probably paired with a piggyback or an offset red dot for close-up work. Other non-negotiables include a parallax adjustment knob, locking turrets, a reticle with some kind of ranging capabilities, and drop data out to 600 or so yards. And there may be a few better options when you watch this video, but I went with the Athlon Helos BTR Gen 2 2 to 12. I'll refer to C-DUS for optic comparisons, but essentially you get all the features you need for an SPR scope. Decent glass, good reticle, locking turrets, nothing phenomenal, but nothing unforgivable either. All for around $500. I like everything about this scope except for the absurdly tall turrets. The features are solid, but I plan to swap it for Vector 2 to 12 when it goes on sale at Euro Optic. Now, the common, affordable, lightweight bipod that most people recommend is either a Magpul or a Harris. But I, for one, don't like the Magpul bipod, and the Harris may have been modern in Eugene Stoner's time, but it's a little long in the tooth today. So I swerved and I chose the MDT Oryx bipod. This is a lightweight bipod made almost entirely out of polymer. So this checks pretty much every box for our Civil Defense SPR build. It's highly affordable at $100. It's roughly the same weight as the Magpul bipod, and it makes excellent use of modern materials technology, just like the Lord and Savior Eugene Stoner intended. And it's 2025, and in my view, any serious SPR setup should include some form of night vision capabilities. Now the problem is, up until a few months ago, there was no reliable laser aiming module on the market for less than $1,000. People thought maybe the Rovivon GL4 Pro was the ticket, but that was a dud. Well, now we have the Holosun Iris, and that is a formidable lamb. But even this so-called budget option is still $800 to $900. So for this build, I decided to attach the new budget hotness, the SMS Laser HFXC 4-in-1 laser aiming module. This is a $250 lamb that includes a Viz and IR laser, a powerful, focusable IR illuminator, and a surprisingly usable white light to boot. The switchology isn't perfect, but it is usable. It's an incredible value at this price point, but, and this is a big but, that only matters if it can hold zero. Initial reports on YouTube and Reddit are promising, but only time will tell. And beyond the price, the weight savings of a 4-in-1 lamb make it the perfect choice for this civilian defense SPR concept that I'm laying out for you here. One last thing before I move on, you probably noticed that I attached the HFXC on a diving board above my main optic instead of on the rail near the muzzle. This accomplishes two things. It keeps the weight balanced closer to the shooter, and it improves zero retention since the 15-inch rail is too flexible for consistent laser accuracy. So I had a Blue Force Gear sling handy, and that's what I used on this build. I like Blue Force Gear slings, but if you're starting from scratch, I'd recommend any 2-point padded sling from your preferred brand. In my opinion, it's worth adding an extra ounce or two of padding to make every minute you carry your rifle that much more comfortable. So there you have it. We've assembled a rifle that blends civil defense practicality with SPR accuracy, all while keeping it lightweight and affordable. But the real question is, does it actually deliver? Let's hit the range and find out. So here are a few groups I shot at my local flat range to get an estimate for this Civil Defense SPR's accuracy. Based on these fairly controlled conditions, I was able to achieve sub-2 MOA 10-shot groups with cheap AAC 77 grain OTMs. And I'm not the best shot in the world either, so that's actually pretty great for a sub-$1,000 AR-15. Guns costing much more than this would struggle to shoot better. So that gives us a rough idea of the gun's potential accuracy. But I want to know its practical accuracy. How far out can we actually connect with targets in the field? So join me now in a remote section of National Forest, hours and hours away from where I live. Welcome, friends. We've set up 8-inch plates at 100, 200, 300, and 400 yards. We also have a 2/3 size torso target at 700 yards. We're going to see if the Civil Defense rifle has the practical accuracy to hit all of these targets. I'm going to shoot 5 rounds at each 1, 2, 3, and 400 yards, and then 10 down at 700. Now, I switched to a new ammo recently, so I'm not 100% on my dope, but I'm going to do my best to hit these targets best I can. Let's see what we can do. Starting at 100. Five hits, and now I'm going to put in my ear protection. All right, now that I've got a ringing in my ears, let's shoot for 200. Five for 5. Now to 3. 1.2 mils, I believe. Now out to 4. I believe we're shooting 2.1 at 4. We're hitting low. I'm gonna go up to 2.2. Now we have our torso target at 700 yards. I gotta go all the way up to 6.2, and that should put us close to where we need to be. Hopefully I can spot my misses and adjust along the way. And I'm going to take 10 hits and see how many I can actually connect with. High left, go down to 6.1, and hold right of the target. That one was close, might have been a hit. And do the same thing again. go take a closer look at these targets and see how successful we are in hitting them. And here we are at our 100-yard target, 5 for 5, center of the plate. No surprise there. Now here we are at our 200-yard target, and again, 5 for 5 hits. A little bit low in the plate. I might bump it up 0.1 mil next time. Apparently, I accidentally took 6 hits at 300. The good news is, it was 6 for 6. So here we are at 400 yards, and as you can see, we only connected with 2 out of 5 of our hits. Now that's not very successful, but clearly we're hitting high on the plate. If I would have come down 0.1 or 0.2, I think I would have had more success. But no excuses, this is what we're looking at. So here we are at 700 yards with our 2/3 size torso target. Now I think I only took 9 shots at this target because I accidentally took 1 too many down there. But as you can see, we connected 5 out of 9 times. And to me, a 50% or greater hit percentage at a 700-yard target with an AR-15 is very successful, especially a sub $1,000 AR-15. And there you have it, the Civil Defense SPR, a rifle that takes the best of the lightweight civil defense rifle and blends it with the precision and extended range of the SPR concept, all while staying under 10 pounds and under $1,000 for the base build. It's lightweight enough to carry all day, accurate enough to make solid repeat hits at 600 yards, and affordable enough for the average working class shooter to actually own. That's a hard balance to strike, but I think this build nails it. At the end of the day, the best rifle is the one you'll actually train with, carry, and use when it matters. This setup works for me, and hopefully it gives you some ideas for your own build. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care of each other.